Jake Tapper has consistently,
we're going to stop this interview if you're going to keep
President
attacking
Trump
my colleagues.
Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to.
See, that's the problem. They don't like facts. They don't like facts. You're not attacking the person. You're attacking the argument, but they malfunction when they get hit with facts. Good day, everybody. Welcome to the channel, Modern Renaissance Man. I am Ty Smith. I know you guys miss me. I've been busy. All right. Don't forget to do me a favor and follow me on all the platforms you see listed above and below. And also, clicking this right here would allow my content to be consistently recommended to you, and it will push it out in the YouTube algorithm. And also, do not forget to double check to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, because as of last month, 1,000 people were unsubscribed from my channel. Not them unsubscribing, but YouTube somehow, some way, they magically got unsubscribed from the channel. So I pretty much gave it to YouTube. YouTube told me they're going to look into it, and they said that if anybody gets unsubscribed from the channel, please let me know in the comment section, because YouTube is now going to watch my videos and watch my channel from now on to see what is happening. We know who's doing it, because I've been unsubscribed from a lot of conservative channels, especially YouTube. Yeah, y'all going to look into it. Bull crap. Anyway, folks, we have to check this video out right here. Shout out to the lovely Kayleigh McEnany, who's going to be hosting this. Her and Trump gave me different hats and all this. I don't have the Trump. I think that's still sealed up in plastic. But the lovely Kayleigh McEnany, we shared the stage together. She signed a hat right there for me. Yeah, we shared the stage up in Chicago some time ago. And again, shout out to Kayleigh McEnany for presenting this. But guys, this right here is going to show you how crazy these folks are. And it's something that the great Thomas Sowell said. He once was a Marxist, and they said what ended up turning you away from being a Marxist and turned you into pretty much being strongly conservative and pretty much an intellectual. He said facts. Then this is what these people don't like. Check it out.
Secretary Caroline Leavitt officially works for the campaign, was on CNN. Here's what happened.
And that's why President Trump is knowingly going into a hostile environment on this very network, on CNN, with debate moderators who have made their opinions about him very well known over the past 8 years and their biased coverage of him.
I'll also say that if you talk to analysts of debates previous, that if you're attacking the moderators, you're usually losing.
It would take someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently, frequently likened President Trump to Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now, as
I'm
for
sorry,
this
guys.
debate,
We're going to come back out to the panel.
So was she attacking the colleague or stating facts? Here's just one of many times Jake Tapper's gone after President Trump.
The dehumanizing rhetoric of Adolf Hitler is once again alive and well on a national political stage, this time given life by former president and current Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump.
You know, Harris, we don't know what Jake Tapper is going to do when he asks those questions. You can go online now and you see 2-minute-long montages of him attacking the former president. But I think the American people deserve honest, forthright, substantive questions to both candidates that are difficult for both to ask, to answer.
I went to Casey Hunt's Twitter page not too long ago, and she said this morning, "You come on my show, you respect my colleagues, period. I don't care what side of the aisle you stand on, as my track record clearly shows." That moment was awkward, and what we'll remember about that moment was that it turned into being messy rather than a good conversation with someone who was close to a former president and could be the next president. And that's unfortunate, because the story became about Casey Hunt. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you want to talk about how you lose the narrative. That's how you lose the narrative. So that's unfortunate. What Caroline was pointing to is the aggression from the liberal and legacy media that we watched for 4 years when Trump was president. I mean, it was aggression. And it was venting, so on and so forth, without oftentimes a comeback. You are talking about a president who's about to go into a debate with a gag order. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so the people who speak for him are speaking for him. If you invite them on the show and you shut them down, now you're further gagging him. I don't really understand the purpose of that, but you got to keep at it, because Trump is winning this. He's going for independence, black vote, Latino vote. He's winning the optics of going out and talking to people. You and I have talked about this many times. He's actually doing that. Let's see if the Biden surrogates can keep up and stop talking so much about Trump.
They're very different approaches. You know, I watched that rally Saturday night, and you saw someone having fun, engaging with the crowd. He talked about the debate a ton. He thinks Biden, who's sequestered, he has tons of aides around him, preparing. President Trump doesn't think that's happening. Here's what he thinks actually is happening at Camp David.
So tonight, we'll refer to him as Sleepy Joe, because right now, as you know, it's been reported that right now Crooked Joe's gone to a log cabin to study, prepare. No, he didn't. He's sleeping now. Because they want to get him good and strong, so a little before debate time, he gets a shot in the
Oh. I mean, Emily, pretty colorful. We don't know what's going on at Camp David, but he's certainly framing the narrative ahead of the debate. We're not hearing from Biden.
Right, and remember how the mainstream media framed it, which was that Biden is at a mountaintop retreat, they wrote, surrounded by close advisors, poring over briefs, and went on to essentially make it sound like he was in this beautifully intellectual, Trinity College library, studying up on policy. And then they said Trump, however, is practicing his barbs and he's sort of hobnobbing with vice presidential hopefuls. The reality couldn't be further from the truth, but it belies the honesty, as Harris was saying, of how they actually feel. Going back to your prior point, the hostility matters. The environment matters. And it's absolutely correct that there is a difference between opinion hosts or hosts that share their opinion and those that are committed to objectivity on air. So it's absolutely right for the president campaign spokesperson to say, look, here's what's happened in the past. Is this going to be a fair fight? It's only correct that, as Eric Trump said, Trump's not debating Biden just debating Biden. He's also debating CNN. It could have been an opportunity for that host to say, the debate will be fairly monitored, fairly moderated, with totally fair rules over at CNN. And instead, the CNN debate was sort of portrayed. She fed into people's conception about it, which is that it's actually not a fair fight.
Yeah, and you talk about the expectations for CNN, and there's the expectations for the candidates. I think Washington Post actually lays this out quite well, Griff. When it comes to expectations, they say this: Donald Trump's campaign argues that Joe Biden is a feeble, incompetent, disconnected from reality, as his aides shuttle him around the world, in the words of one Trump advisor, like the cadaver in the 1989 comedy film Weekend at Bernie's. Now, keep in mind, Trump says he thinks he'll be good on the debate stage, so a little bit different than how they portray it there. But here's the second sentence that I think is important. Biden's campaign describes Trump as unhinged extremist with dictatorial designs who snapped when he lost the 2020 election. So I bring this up because we talk so much about the expectation for Biden, but for 4 years, Biden has set this expectation that you're about to watch an unhinged dictator. So if he shows up and is the opposite, what then?
I think this is going to be one of the most significant debates, a CNN presidential debate, that we've had ever, because here is a case of the candidates couldn't be more different. And of course, you have two presidential records now going head to head for the first time. I hope there is, as you point out, the substance on the border, on the economy, on taxes. But if I could just go back to that rally, Trump is bringing his core base with him. Come with me. They're stacking the deck. They're going to cut my mic off. And the lesson from that interview with Casey Hunt and Caroline Leavitt was that they saw they couldn't control Caroline Leavitt. You think Jake Tapper's going to be able to control Trump? We'll see what happens. We'll see what we get. I will say this. I do hope at some point we get a colorful Trump moment, which is his unpredictableness that he's perfected. And he turns perhaps to Biden and says, by the way, did cannibals eat Uncle Bozo?
Oh, my goodness.
Carly.
Yeah, Lara Trump was on Fox and Friends earlier this morning and talked about Donald Trump's strategy and what he's going to do in terms of substance is say, we've had two back-to-back presidents, me and President Biden, and just talk about the records. Where did you feel? Did you feel better 4 years ago, or do you feel now? Just talking about the track records, which so interestingly, it takes place back-to-back. I mean, how often can people really compare and contrast two presidential candidates? There are also two rules that I think work in favor of Donald Trump. One is that he won the coin toss, so he's going to be doing the closing statements last. So the last person that you will hear from during closing arguments, essentially, is Donald Trump. The other is that the mics are going to be muted. That works in Donald Trump's favor because he's aggressive. He's got a tendency to talk over the other candidate, and sometimes when you do that with Joe Biden, you bail him out if he is, losing his train of thought.
That's an interesting point.
So there's also that. if he gets a January 6th question, if he gets are you going to accept the election results question, I think a good way to pivot to that is just say, listen, I'm running for the future of the country. You may care about that, but the American people care about the economy. They care about the border. They care about crime. Those are the issues I want to talk about. I think that will speak to a lot of people in the middle, moderate voters as well.
See what I'm saying? If you're going to attack my colleague, you're not attacking your colleague. They're pretty much saying what your colleague said. But yet at the same time, the guy who y'all saw in this video, he is supposed to be moderating for this debate that's coming up on Thursday. And he had that to say about Trump. So the fact is, man, how did we even get to where CNN is going to be the one doing it? You know that they're probably going to try to come at Trump. And hopefully, guys, we don't know yet, but supposedly, according to Trump, there may not be a crowd there. It may just be President Trump and Biden, and they're going to be sitting down. Go back to how Trump was when he was debating Hillary Clinton. He was just pacing and walking around. Wasn't that funny? I was cracking up during it because you being jealous. That was so funny, man. Never said that wrong. I never said that. That was the best. But I have not seen really any debates where they have to be sitting down. That just seems so old. Let's be real. It's probably because Biden can't stand that long. I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of any. Why do they have to sit down? I do not know. What I do know is I'm not expecting anything during this debate. I'm not going to be surprised I'm just saying I'm not going to be surprised if the moderators, like they have in the past, come at Trump a particular way and come at Biden a particular way. Just saying, let's just leave it there anyway. Yeah. Let me know what y'all think of this video and what y'all saw in here. Do you agree or do you disagree? I'm just saying, y'all, come on, man. The lady was getting pissed that other woman was throwing those facts at her like that. She didn't want to hear that, want to cut the interview. But we know how it can be. She probably went off script CNN like y'all tried to have me do, and y'all wrote the script out of what y'all wanted me to say when I was going to interview a Don Lemon. We know how y'all are. Fake news. Yes, y'all are. Anyway, folks, let me know what y'all think of this by leaving it in the comments below after this video. I am Ty Smith, Modern Renaissance Man, and I hope and pray that every last one of you have food, shelter, and clothing. And most of all, I pray every last one of you guys are in great health mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. God bless you all through Jesus.